Welcome to Plus One Forward, the podcast powered by the apocalypse, where we talk about tabletop role-playing games using or inspired by the Apocalypse engine. I'm your MC, Rich, and I'm joined by my guest, Davide Pignedoli. Hey, Davide, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Great. All right, let's kick this off. How long have you been playing PbtA or Apocalypse engine games, and what was your gateway?
So I played, I think, around 3 years now. My first Apocalypse world-based game was Monster of the Week.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Although the first manual that I read was actually, Apocalypse World. Yeah. I studied that, and then I played in a Monster of the Week game run by someone else, and then I played several other games. I played Monster Hearts, played Sagas of the Icelanders, City of Judas, of course, Apocalypse World, Dungeon World, very little, and I think another 2 or 3 probably.
Cool. I have to ask, in your Monster of the Week, what was the first hunter that you played? Do you remember?
I don't remember the name of the playbook, but it's the guy that is the investigator kind of.
Oh yeah.
Struck me like a sort of a secret agent sort of a thing. I really don't remember the name of the playbook.
Kind of sounds like the Initiative. That sounds awesome.
Could be. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's jump on over here and read a Sitch. Talk about a table thing going on. Okay.
Sure.
Read a Sitch. So, Davide, I understand that you, at least early on, you had played with an MC that when they were GMing, they weren't really necessarily using the agendas and principles of the game. You want to talk a little bit about that, your experience?
Yeah, well, actually, the first experience was very good. Monster of the Week went very, very well. I play most of the times in a gaming association here in town. There are several people taking the role of GM or MC, or depending on the game, whatever label you want to put on it.
Nice.
But yeah, the second experience was Apocalypse World. I played as a player, and there was a guy that was running as the MC, and he basically tried to apply every principle of traditional gaming to Apocalypse World, and completely ignored all the advice for the GM all the rules for the GM and principles for the MC actually of Apocalypse World.
Interesting. Tell me, what are a couple of things that you felt like came from traditional gaming that didn't really work in Apocalypse World?
He used the terminology that was totally giving away the fact that he was coming from a more traditional mindset, let's say. He had the habit of calling for perception rolls. Oh. Like when someone entered a room or whatever, it was like, okay, so give me a perception roll. And it was not really the situation, you know?
Okay.
So if we want to be kind to him, we could say he was playing with his own custom move. Like if we rolled a 10 plus, it would give away a few information. 7, 9, not a lot of information. And on the 6 minus, it was like sometimes lies and sometimes, well, you just see nothing particular and just saying nothing more.
Oh, wow. Okay, so and this was early on for you, so it was probably you guys were just still learning the game. How did you react to that? What did the playgroup do?
Well, actually, the guy is very young. I think he's in his early 20s, and he played with a lot of also very young people. I was the oldest one in the group, so I didn't want to be the one that's like calling the GM on mistakes on rules and stuff like that, so I just rolled with it.
Sure.
And we tried to make the best of it, but let's say it didn't work very well in terms of how the game was going. The atmosphere at the table was good, because everybody was having fun, or trying to have fun anyway, but in terms of the story that was coming up, was pretty much a series of encounters and perception rolls, and then fights.
Wow. Okay, so it's one of those where you made the fun. What are some takeaways that you had from that? Anything that you learned that you then reapplied whenever you looked at Apocalypse World style games?
Yeah, the first time I was emceeing the game, and it's actually something that got into the book itself of City of Judas, and I think actually also it's also in Apocalypse World. I don't know if Vincent stressed it so much, but I'm advising the MC to take a break, take a few seconds, don't just answer right away to players. It's like it's not an interrogation. You don't have to answer within the next 2 seconds. catch your breath, think about a couple of options, look at your principles on paper once again, and do your best to stick to those.
Nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Especially if you're a beginner, yeah.
That's good advice.
I mean, you don't have to trust your instincts every time, especially if you have a background with different style of gaming, which is not necessarily bad, but it doesn't apply directly to Apocalypse World, or it just leads Apocalypse World to look like another game, and you're basically not fulfilling the potential it has.
Right. What are some of the things that you really felt like was missing from that game?
It was definitely missing. It didn't leave space to players to bring things to the story.
Right.
I mean, I always had, when I was reading the manual, I always had the feeling that the MC doesn't need to create an adventure for those post-apocalyptic people, because they have their own troubles already. I mean, they have already enough rope to hang themselves.
True.
Right? And if you start to make up your own adventure, you're basically just saying, no, I'm not giving you rope.
Cool. That's some really good stuff to learn, Davide. Thank you for sharing that with us. I want to hear a little bit about City of Judas. Do you mind if we open our brain up to this game you made?
Sure.
Open your brain. Okay, City of Judas. Now, this is a game I have not heard a whole lot about, so I'm really excited to learn about it from you. What is City of Judas? What's the setting and what's it about?
Yeah, I look at the game as two different things. There's a setting, which is something that I care about, but a few of my playtester groups actually discarded it and sort of just went ahead and played their own medieval thing. Usually in a sort of Celtic Northern Europe, because that's what they liked.
Okay.
But the setting itself, I took it as far as I could from the as I said, from the fantasy traditional Northern European style. So it's about Jerusalem and the time of the Crusades.
Okay.
But they're not really the Crusades. So it's like sort of the history, in terms of pretty pictures and paintings and your idea of the medieval times.
Right.
And that's it. And then I was putting in there something a bit peculiar. There is this cult of Judas, which is a parallel Christian sect sort of a thing that is based in Jerusalem. There are a few descriptions of this cult of Judas and of the Christian church in the game, which can be fairly translated into communist versus traditional capitalist, whatever.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, it was a sort of a political joke in there. If you play them by the rules of the book, let's say not the rules, by the ideas that the book suggests, you basically end up with that. The cult of Judas is a sort of revolutionary force, even though there is a religion behind, instead of a political ideology. And the Christian church is a factor of stability.
Okay.
And wants to enforce this stability because they are in power.
Right, that makes sense.
But I don't expect all of the players to get that or even to agree with that. But yeah, it's there as a suggestion, and it's working well because usually the MC plays the church and players tend to sympathize with the revolutionary forces. So it's a bit of like the Empire and the Rebellion sort of a thing.
Nice. Timely too. Very timely.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool. And I want to dig in just a little bit deeper, Davide.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's religion, the Crusades, you've got the church. Is this like a full-out religious war that's going on? Is that what we deal with? Is the Crusades itself?
I left the book quite vague on it. I didn't want it to be a sort of really like the real Crusades. Because I think there's enough tension in the Middle East without adding my book to it right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't deal with that. It takes Jerusalem as the background, a bit like Assassin's Creed. It's
okay.
There is adventure, and there is this war going on, and it's a religious war, but you don't have to deal with it that much. It's just in the background.
Right. Okay.
And you live your own adventure, your own stuff. And as I said, usually go on the side of the underdogs and try to prevail against stronger forces out there.
Okay, thanks. I really wanted to dig into that because I was curious. I see City of Judas, and religion and RPGs are always that weird, touchy subject here in America.
I know.
So I just wanted a little clarity there. That helps. That helps a lot.
I don't know if it helped to sell the book. I know there were a lot of concerns about it, but I felt it was very inspiring. It went very well at the table, so I said, let's go with it. I liked it, and I said, let's go with it.
Awesome. You got to write your passion, man. That's cool. So what mechanics are different in City of Judas than like your basic apocalypse world?
Okay, so I made a little list for you so that I won't forget. The first one it's called Advantage Die. Every player has his own little die of a different color, and I use it to replace the +1 forward or ongoing. Because it's...
Wait a second, you've replaced +1 forward on my show? Davide, oh man.
I know, that's why I put it first.
So they get an extra die, so you're rolling 3d6? Is that how it works?
No, actually they just put it aside as a token, and it goes up. Like it starts as with a number 1, and when they gain some sort of an advantage, it goes up to 2, and then 3, and 4. And it's written in a lot of moves that you have either the option to take +1 to that die, or and it's an option you choose, or it's something that comes directly from a move. And at any and then it goes up to 3, 4, 5, etc., up to 6. And at any moment after you roll your dice, you can say, well, I'm swapping this. You roll the basic 2d6. One comes out with a 1 or a 2. You discard it and you replace with your advantage die value, which is maybe a 5, and it's
neat.
And then it goes back to 1.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, wow, that's a hard decision to make.
Yeah, no, it was actually we had a problem. We always forgot the +1 forward and the +1 ongoing. I mean, we always had like
I gotta be honest
5
with you,
minutes
it can be
after
tough,
rolling
yeah.
the move. It was like, well, yeah, I think I had a +1, but we didn't put it there, and we started to write them down, and then we said, well, let's try to replace it with something else, and this is what I came up with.
Pretty cool. I like it. What else did you tweak?
We have counters and conditions. It's something that I use to track physical and spiritual condition of your character and the equipment, which is left pretty vague. They basically work like stats. They go from -3 to +3.
Okay.
Of course, when it's positive and it's +2 or +3, it's good. And you roll them in some of the peripheral moves that you have. For example, you have +2 equipment, you need some gear, you roll with equipment, with that +2, you're very likely to end up having whatever you need for your task.
Nice. Cool, I like that. Okay.
And then there are a few conditions which are triggered also mechanically by those counters. If they go very low, if they get to -1, like you get -1 to in equipment because you use it up, then maybe you get a condition which could be, for example, unprepared, and the MC, the GM, has the possibility to use those conditions to make moves against your character.
Ooh,
so
okay.
You can say you're unprepared, you're digging in your backpack for something, and even before you roll, I see you have that condition, and I say you don't have that thing you were looking for. So let's see, what's your plan B?
Now, you're saying you could have a +2 on equipment. You roll with a +2. Does that +2 now go down because you've used a piece of equipment?
Yeah, exactly. When you roll the equipment, it goes down. Health, I use instead of hit points. So basically, you start with the +3, and it goes down and down. And every time you get hurt, you roll a move for that. And of course, if you lose, if you get to suffer, if your character suffers some harm, the counter will go down, and you roll with a lower and lower number, and you're much more likely to be put in a very hard situation by your opponent, or even taken out of the fight.
That's a nice abstraction with the equipment. That way you can say, oh, well, I go shopping. All right, great. You go from your +0 to a +2 because you spent whatever.
Yeah, you actually
Nice.
regain equipment at the end of the missions that you do. It's one of the rewards you get at the end of your missions. And you usually roll it when you need some gear of any type.
I like it. That is really cool. Awesome.
And then there is another condition which is tied to the spirit, which is in general the how strong the inner self of your character is, or how far from the dark side you are, if you want to use that analogy. When you get to -1, you decide if you're becoming if you have the possibility to get the tainted condition. The very cool thing about it is when you're tainted, the game encourages the MC to use demons against characters.
Okay.
A lot of supernatural monsters and entities. And when you're tainted, you know they are coming after you. You're their favorite target. Or like I usually do with my players, when they're tainted and they try to do something sneaky, well, actually the demons were there checking them out from the very beginning, you know? Because they have someone tainted in the group. But actually, a lot of the moves of the playbooks actually get better when you're tainted.
Okay.
Like with the dark side of the Force.
Yes.
You're supposed to get stronger, you know?
Yes.
So you have the temptation to get it, and then you have to do certain things, so you get +1 in spirit, and you can erase it afterwards, after you do your bad whatever you needed to do.
Oh man, so I'll go get to a really nasty mission. I try to get tainted, and then I know I can take care of it later, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
That's a nice temptation. I like that. Okay, Davide, what is your favorite move and why?
In general, I like the moves that I built for harm, both for characters and NPCs. For the characters, you have that counter that we said, the health counter, which goes from +3 to -3. So you don't have a fixed number of hit points. Maybe you're +2, but you roll very bad and you can be taken out of a fight. Or you're at -1, -2, but if you roll well, you can still push your luck and get through it. It gives a very, very uncertain feeling to fights.
Right.
And something very easy for the GM. You don't have hit points also for NPCs or monsters. You just track how many times they were hit, and then you roll with that.
Interesting.
When actually characters are rolling with that, and the more the monster suffered harm, the more likely it is to be taken out of the fight also.
Okay.
So those I like very much.
Okay, man. I am excited to get. You're gonna have to hurt me now because I want to get this act under fire. You're gonna have to see how this damage and all the equipment. These are really cool. So, can we play a little bit of City of Judas?
Sure.
Cool. It is time to act under fire. All right, Davide. I would like to play Plussillius, the Sellsword. You think we can get him in action here?
Yeah, sure. I actually thought about something for you to introduce you to the nasty workings of demons in this city.
All right. Sounds fantastic.
So, the initial situation will be this. There's this merchant that paid you very well just to go down to the market and get something from a caravan that came from the Far East. Apparently there's a box that you should retrieve for him. And when you come back to his mansion, there's a priest waiting for you, and he walks you in, and he will take hold of this box and open it, because they're waiting for a medicine for the sick wife of this merchant.
Okay.
The thing you know that is pretty weird is this merchant has been sort of barricading himself into the house for the past few months for some reason. Probably did something with the cult of Judas, and now he's pretty worried that some of the Crusaders could come after him. So he sent you to get this box for him.
Okay.
So yeah, you're walking into this ancient villa with escorted by the priest of Judas, and as soon as you get into this sort of library, he's putting the box on the table and saying, "Just stay with me while I check what's inside."
Very well.
And then he's cracking the box open and taking out a couple of scrolls.
Okay.
And since you said you wanted to see what happened when you're tainted,
it's my fault. Okay.
I was thinking, yeah, you have a cell sword, so I'll let you use that sword of yours. Because as soon as he's taking out the scrolls are sort of vanishing into black dust. And there's a mighty growl that comes from behind you. And there's what appears to be a sort of dog, but like with a rotten body and very, very bad smell about him.
Whoa.
And it doesn't look like something from this world.
Mm.
And yeah, and he's fixing these reddish eyes on you and the priest, and taking a couple of cautious steps towards the two of you.
Well, I've got a sword strapped to my back, so I draw that out, and I step in front of the priest and say, "What is this foul beast?"
And the priest looks really terrorized, and he said, this is in my books, and it's not supposed to be in here. And then he's like moving with the back to the wall, probably mutters something like, "This is coming for all of us."
Oh, say a prayer for us.
Yeah, I guess he can just pray for you. Nothing more than that.
Nothing more. That's all I need, because I'm going to kill this thing. All right.
Yeah, and as you take a step towards towards this sort of hellhound, he's also ready for some fight. Yeah.
Okay. So are we facing danger here? Is that how this works?
Yeah, actually, you have your sword, so I would go directly for the engage in battle.
Oh,
move,
cool.
Which
Okay.
is straightforward move for fights. If it was a bigger, stronger demon, I would call for a different type of move. I'll describe it to you later, but for now, I'll go easy on you. And we'll go for engage in battle.
Engage in battle. Okay, let me take a look here. When you fight in close quarters, roll 2d6 plus steel. If you're on a warhorse, you do some other stuff. I'm not on a warhorse.
Yeah.
So here we go. Even though there are no actual +1 forwards, you were nice enough to say that Plussillius has a +1 here. So here we go, a 2d6 plus 1.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is fantastic. I've just rolled an 11, so that's a 12
That's
on
great.
a 10 plus. Inflict your harm and take 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll have a look at what a sword does for you, because here, and we're gonna mark this harm directly on the hellhound, and then I'll explain to you what you have in terms of what are your options if you want to read through those.
Yeah, I'm looking through the options right now. It looks like you get some superior tactics, or you outmaneuver them, or you have a powerful or fast, and so you can divide your harm against multiple opponents, which is really cool. I like that option. But I'm going to choose, I get 2 because it's a 10 plus. Your attack is precise or hard and inflicts +1 harm AP. And you want to try to end this fight, roll the inflict harm moves. This is cool. So with engaging in battle, I can choose to inflict harm. I like that.
Yeah, actually, exactly. That's the move that you can use if you want to end the fight, if you want to put your opponent out of the fight. And unless you take that, you will just keep accumulating harm on your opponent.
Oh, right.
You'll maneuver on the battlefield or make other choices. That's the one, and you actually have to spend one of your holes for that and say, this should be a killing blow, or something that will take them out of the fight.
That's neat. I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we said you have a sword, which is 3 harm, +1.
Right?
Because you had +1. So just let me check if this sneaky bastard over here has some armor. Probably 1, because he's a demon, so it won't go down that easily. Actually, armor 2.
Whoa, this
So
guy is
it's
tough.
2 harm. Yeah. So it's 2 harm for him. And the bad news for you is this is a demon. So against a normal NPC, you would have rolled 2d6 plus 2 harm that you inflicted.
Right.
But this is a demon, so you roll 1d6 plus 2 harm.
Oh, man, that's scary. Okay. 1d6 plus
Yeah.
2. Whew, come on high. Oh, that's a 3. Okay, so I got a 5. Oh, man. So it's still the 7 to 9, 10 plus on that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is really interesting how demons get the 1. Okay, all right. That is, that's a...
So that's a 5 for this time, but you have to remember that the 2 wounds that you inflicted will stay. So in the next round, if you inflict another 2, or in your next move you inflict another 2, then you roll with +4, for example.
Okay, I get you. That's really neat. Okay.
As the MC now, I have the possibility to inflict to make my own move. So definitely your sword bites into the flesh of this monster, but it's definitely something from out of this world, because you nearly chopped one of his legs off, and the bastard just keeps coming at you, and it's basically trying to get at your throat with his own fangs. Do you have a shield or something besides your sword?
I do, because I think that would look cool. A nice little sword over his back with a shield behind it. Maybe a small buckler, something really small.
Yeah, so probably by instinct, you're just parrying this mighty blow from Demon with your shield, and he's tearing it apart and basically throwing it to the other side of the room. So as my move, instead of inflicting harm, I'm taking away something from you, and I'm taking away your shield.
Man, I hope these prayers work out for me. Can I dive back in and try to slice across here and move it back?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to do that. All right, here we go. All right. With a +1, I've gotten a 9. So 7 and 9, I inflict my harm, which is a 3. And and you get to make a move contemporary to mine, but you can't contradict my choice. I want to try to end this fight again. I'm feeling a little better. Maybe. Okay.
Sounds good.
So I did one more harm, right?
Yeah, this time, while you're chopping at the bastard with your sword, he's basically with his legs. I think tigers and similar animals fight like that, while they try to basically bite your face off. They also try to rip your guts with the legs. So that's what he's trying to do.
Man.
So let's. You wanted to end the fight, so there's another 3 harm that you inflicted. -2 for the armor, so it's 1.
Okay.
So we go. Now you're rolling +3 with 1 die, and then we'll roll.
I need a
also
4 or better to get one of those options, huh? Okay. Here we go. Oh, a 1.
Oh, that's bad.
It's a mere 4. Okay, so it's just painful. The fight goes on. All right, give me your move. What happens now?
This time I'm going to inflict harm on you, just to see how it goes. It's 3 harm. He's inflicting on you with his legs, but you don't have a shield, but I guess you probably have like some sort of a armor on you.
Yeah. I mean, he's a sellsword, so...
You tell me if it looks more like
I'd say it's...
like the sort of a guy that is with a chainmail or something like that, or with something heavier.
I think probably just a chainmail. Is that a +1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1 armor. Yeah, absolutely. So it's 2 arm. Instead of 3. So basically what happens now, we said you have a health counter instead of hit points.
Okay.
So you start with a sort of invisible +4 over there, because the first time you get 1 arm, you go to +3 in health.
Oh, okay.
And then, considering it's 2, you actually go to +2. So your health is +2. And what we're going to roll now is suffer harm, which is also in the combat moves.
I see it.
And you're rolling with +2.
Okay, I'm going to roll with +2. Here we go. I got an 8 with that +2. And I have a few options here. So it really hurts. Keep whatever harm was suffered and mark on health. Or the hit takes something away from you. Make an offer to the GM without negotiating. If he accepts, take 1 harm less. If he refuses, you keep whatever harm and take -1 advantage dice. I am just going to go ahead and it really hurts. Keep the harm that was suffered. So I'm still at the +2 with health, right?
Yeah, you stay with the +2.
Okay.
And since we started to play like in the middle of your adventure when you're bringing the box back, let's say for your sake that your advantage die is a 4.
Advantage die is a 4. Right? Oh man, I am so I can use that on hurting it too. Is that right?
You can use it whenever you roll.
Oh, man, here it comes. You're going to suck it, Hellhound. Okay. So can I come right back at it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you stay engaged in battle, we keep rolling with that.
So his he scraped with his underside, basically his back legs. And so I'm going to come with an overhead strike and try to finish him. I'm trying to brain this weird dog thing.
Yeah.
Here we go. That is a 7 + 1 and 8. So with the 7 to 9, I'm doing it. I'm going to end the fight if I can. I'm going to roll to inflict the harm move.
Perfect.
And so that's +4 now already from harm. And I get to roll 1d6.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 4, so I have to swap it out. So that's an 8. What happens on an 8? Okay. Okay, and the opponent picks one for themselves, but then the GM makes a move. I am going to say that the opponent is panicked or disarmed or deprived of something.
All right, so you basically stab your sword through the skull of this monster. Probably you did something to it. You don't know if it's the metal of your sword or if it's actually because you pierced whatever brains he has left, but it seems to turn into a normal dog. And it's crawling to the corner of the room, and now it looks like it's just scared of you.
Ooh.
And whatever demon thing was inside it, it's basically gone. Apparently.
Well, I think I need to ask the priest to make sure for that. Priest, what happened to the demon?
And he's looking at you and saying, well, these things, they never go away. Not for real. Not unless you really kill them. So yeah, you probably have some sort of a mark on you, and you should expect worse to happen to you in the future.
Oh man, that's great. Do you want to end it there? That was really good.
Yeah, that's good. The wife probably still needs the medicine, but we know who's going to look for it. Right?
Oh man, Davide, that was really cool. I love that action system. That's a neat approach to using the dice differently in Apocalypse Engine.
Yeah. Actually, I think Seed of Judas does the combat very, very well. It has a very traditional fantasy combat approach to this to the game. I mean, my players love to fight, not all the time, but they love a good fight. And I think the balance of the system is working pretty well. Scales well also with gangs and all this stuff. And of course, if you play for quite some time, you get to enjoy also all the other moves and all the social interactions you have in the city and stuff like that. But I thought with very little background we have in a short play test here, I wanted to give you a taste of the action.
Awesome. Well, Davide, thank you so much for coming on +1 Forward and sharing with us City of Judas.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me.
+1 Forward is a production of the Gauntlet community and Richard Rogers. You can find us on gauntlet-rpg.com or follow us on Twitter at GauntletRPG. The games mentioned on this show use the Apocalypse Engine, which is a creation of Vincent and McGay Baker. The music for +1 Forward is from the Savage Oral Hotbed CD Gomi Daiko. The songs used are Gomi Daiko Metal version and Process. You can find more amazing tunes by Savage Oral Hotbed on their website, savageoralhotbed.com.